Okay, so I'm answering in the 5 Steps of 5 workbook, page 76, number 5 is where I'm starting. So the set of 5,000 scores on a college readiness exam are known to be approximately normally distributed with mean 72, standard deviation 6. The most important thing of that one sentence is what?
Approximately normal.
Approximately normal. You need to get in the habit of, like, as soon as you see it, underline it, circle it, something, because then you know, okay, I can go this direction or I can't. This one, not so much, but in the second part, when it says to the nearest integer value, how many scores, this is one of those where you gotta pay attention to the wording. This one asks for how many, not what percentage of. This one isn't as confusing with that as some of them are, but some of them are definitely that way. So like if you look at the answer choices, because it says how many are between there, which answer choice would not be one of your options?
A.
And there's probably a good chance that that would be your answer for the percentage. But that means somebody just forgot to convert it to how many. So we know that it's normally distributed, approximately normal. Our mu was 72, standard deviation of 6. And what is the 5,000 telling us?
N.
Alright, so it says how many would be between 73 and 75. What does this tell me? Like, what trigger thing should I think in my head as soon as I know it's approximately normal? Like anything.
The bell-shaped graph. with
Okay.
the 3 standard deviations.
And what else? It associates with the 3 standard deviations thing. It's actually talking about the same thing. What equation do I use? What's on the sheet that has this? The z. But I can kind of go 2 different directions with z. And most of you wouldn't realize this, but some of you understand the differentiation between which one kind of helps. And this is where this one could be a little bit confusing. If I am just dealing with one individual, it's just x minus mu divided by sigma. If I am dealing with a group and I want to test the sample mean of that group, then it's going to be z equals x bar minus mu divided by sigma over square root n. So that differentiation is going to help a little bit, but it actually isn't helpful with this problem, and you think it would be, but it's actually not. So most people think because this is not one that we go this direction, but the reason we do not is because it doesn't ask us if the what is between 63 and 75. This one would be p parentheses x is something. This one would be p parentheses x bar is something. And we're not testing a sample mean in this problem. We're just testing an individual value. So it's not that second path, even though this one would kind of lean to look like it is at first. So in this one, we actually aren't using this 5,000 until we get to the end. So I'm using this one, and I want to basically figure out what's the probability that one individual is between 63 and 75. So what am I going to have to do because I have 2 of them? Find the z of both. So I'm going to have a z for 63. What, 5 over 6? No, I'm going the wrong way. 9 over 6, 1.5. I'm doing this in my head, so let me know if I'm off on these. So 75 minus 72, 6 on half. So now I'm saying, what's the probability that z is between negative. Negative 1.5 and 0.5. So I'm still basically ignoring this right now. Draw my curve. I got negative 1.5 here. Got 0.5 here. I'm shading between. I can use my green sheet or my calculator. If I use my green sheet, my area for negative 1.5 is 0.0668, and my area for 0.5 is 0.6915. And I do what with those two? Subtract, so 16915 minus 0.0668. Not doing that in my head right now. Which is probably option A. Yeah, so A would have been right if I stopped here. The only thing that's different is the problem doesn't ask for what's the probability, it says how many. If I have 20 people and I want 25% of them, how do I figure out how many?
Multiply that.
So you're basically saying n times your probability. Well, this is your n. This is your probability. So your answer is going to be found by doing 5,000 times 0.6247, which is going to give you, what is that? Type that in that calculator for me. Is it
I think it's 3123, but I'm not sure.
D? I got you, 3123-ish. It says to the nearest integer, so it rounds to that one.
Yeah.
All right, now, 6 is a good one. So now you have to use, this is a working backward problem. This one says, same page, number 6. It says, for the data described in number 5, which is the closest to the 63rd percentile? So I've got approximately normal again. And both of these are really good questions because these are things that you will definitely see. U is 75 or 2. Sigma 6. And so we're doing 63rd percentile. What does this mean? Shade to the left, is everybody I did better than? And so 63, is that this line itself mean 63? What is the 63 talking about in this little graph I just drew? It's not where this line is, but it's
Area.
the area that I shaded. So this is what's 63. So where do I look for that in my green sheet? Middle or outside? Middle. So I'd go middle, follow it out. Looks like 0.6293 is the closest to that, which is a z-score of 0.33. So now, I'm obviously not done at that point. That's my z that it would be. So I'm going back to this equation. I know my z is 0.33. I'm finding my x. My mu is still 72. My sigma is 6. So now I'm just algebra out of there. So it ends up being 0.33 times 6 plus 72, which is one that gives us the 0.33. Yeah, it gets us like 73.98 or something. And this is the one where, so the book says that, but then writes the wrong letter. It does that like 3 or 4 times in the problems we go over, but it actually answers it correctly, it just writes the wrong letter. It wrote, what did it say, B, but it's supposed to be D?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you're right, it should be B, it answers it correctly, it's just, or it should be D, it answers it correctly, it just writes the letter B instead. What other questions?
Page 105. It's 106.
Okay.
It's number 8.
Correlation to, ooh, I think this is a tricky one. Correlation between two variables, x and y is 0.26. New set of scores. Okay, what I like to do, let me talk out of this one. Let's say I am so confused by this problem and I don't know where to start. I'm going to explain to you how I would approach this problem on AP exam for my sake. I'm supposed to get a correlation of 0.26. That seems tricky, or negative 0.26. Let's say I'm going to make up some numbers that I'm definitely going to go with negative. So let's say I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, and 1, maybe 0.8. Let me type these in and see what happens. So I'm just making up stuff right now. There's the only rhyme or reason I have to any of that is kind of want negative. So as one goes up, the other one goes down. Okay. I got a really strong negative R, but let's just roll with it and see what happens. When I made this up, my R was negative 0.993399. So what this is doing is this is saying, okay, my original was negative 0.96. Okay, well, my number has nothing to do with that, but I'm gonna see how my number changes. A new set of scores is constructed by, so my x's are gonna switch to negative. So I'm calling this one. So what are my new x's gonna be? And then what did it say happened to the y's? They're plus 12. So I just made up my own numbers. I don't care what the problem says. I'm seeing how my numbers change. So now I'm going to go in and change my numbers to what I just have now. So now I have -1, -2, -3 versus 13, 12.8, and 12.5. And then go find my R again. Do y'all remember how to find R? Should I slow that down? How do I find R? Yeah, stack count 8. I try not to take things for granted when I'm going over stuff because sometimes I need to go over every tiny little step. That's fun. All right, so now when I type my numbers in, I get. So what happened to my R? It just switched from negative to positive. Nothing else about it adjusted. So my correct answer would be what? B, 0.26. And that's how I would approach that problem, because if I can teach you how to think through a problem, you can use that to apply a whole bunch of different problems.
Yeah, I was just confused because I was like, they didn't give us a set of scores, so I
Right.
guess we just use our own scores.
That's how I would go. Now, you can actually go through this one in concepts. So what happens is if I'm switching just one of them from positive to negative, it flips it. And then me just adding to something is just gonna slide it over, so it's not gonna change anything. So really, you're going through concepts of just one of them is switching positive to negative, so that switches it, and me shifting it doesn't do anything. But that's gonna be more helpful to me on the AP exam than what I just said. And for somebody who gets stuck in problems. But if I can talk you out of how to get through multiple problems, I think making up numbers is more helpful in that situation. What else? Yes, no? You look like you're about to say something, you didn't.
I'm trying to think. How do you show me?
I like marked them in here, I should define all of them.
How what?
Oh, can you go over tree diagrams just like in general?
Okay, does anybody have a problem that they remember that they want to do with the tree diagram?
I mean, there's for two, 155 for 2.
Okay, so let me, yeah, I would rather do one, I'm gonna stop the video here.